The Big E Sports Show.
Yeah, we got it going on,
The fastest hour in sports entertainment. We don't just talk about the headlines. We bring you some of the most engaging and colorful guests each and every episode for your listening pleasure. Now, without further ado, here's your host, Elissa Walker-Campbell.
Hey, Elissa Walker-Campbell back with you on the Big E Sports Show, and always a treat to welcome in a good friend of our program, and that is James Hale, longtime Oklahoma insider with the Brainiacs and host on 105.3 CBS Sports Talk Radio in Oklahoma City. And few people know the Sooners better than James. He is here to help us out and preview Oklahoma's huge showdown with Michigan and set the stage for the season ahead. Good to have you with us, James.
Big E, it's back to be on the Big E show, and I'm so happy. And now that your sons know that you can throw elbows as well as any basketball player I've ever seen, and they don't want anything more of their mom on the basketball court, and they decided to go to the golf course, everything is good in life. So here we go.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to start with the big one, Oklahoma, Michigan. What's your read on this matchup, and what kind of tone could this set for the Sooners this season?
Well, it would set everything up. I think OU has put a lot of energy into this game. I think everything is pointed to this game for OU to show the college football world that they're back, that they are still the Oklahoma Sooners. And that's what I'm hoping this team goes out and does. Being a longtime reporter covering this team, I'm used to covering a program that walked into the Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium or Owen Field, whatever you used to call it, and they would walk onto the field and they'd stick their chest out and say, "We're Oklahoma. We're going to beat your butt. You come and try to beat us." And very few teams could. And every year, OU was that kind of team. They were running roughshod over a lot of people. Well, when Lincoln Riley left, Brent came back in and he saw a totally disassembled defensive unit. Offensively, they were fine, and he had Jeff Levy to run the offense. You had Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. They were still good on the offense. But defensively, they weren't anything like he had built and he had recognized as a defensive coach. And he was mastermind behind some of the best defenses in college football. So understand, Brent has a certain way he wants to run defense. He knows his way works. He even tweaked it when he got to Clemson to handle the spread offenses that people were seeing. And Clemson won 2 more national championships when Brent was there. So he knows what he's doing, but he saw a defensive system that Alex Grinch had installed that wasn't working, that wasn't doing it right. And so he had to change it. They had one 300-pounder at that time. So he's been building this defense for 3 years. They played pretty good defense last year, but injuries derailed the offense. He had to make a change, an offensive coordinator at midseason. So he went out and got Ben Arbuckle. Ben Arbuckle and Brent and this team went out and got John Mateer to come in from Washington State. They went out and got Jay Knott, and they spent big money in today's money grab game in college football. And they got Jay Knott to play tailback. He'll be unveiled this week. And OU has reestablished themselves at wide receiver and in the offensive line. So, everything is set up for this game against Michigan. Michigan rolls in a blue blood like Oklahoma. Oklahoma recognizes that. All of us have to recognize that.
Yeah.
Michigan has won more games in college football than anybody else, right? But OU has won more games in the modern era. We count that since 1950. And OU's won more games than any other team in college football. And so these two teams recognize who each other are. So OU, wanting to reestablish Brent Venables as the coach and wanting to reestablish their major power, need to prove it today as a 5.5-point favorite in the game to go win this game. And so I think everything is set up for them to be a part of this game and win this game.
You know, you were talking about Brent Venables, the defensive identity. How do you see that taking shape here in season 4, especially against a physical team like Michigan?
Well, I think those that know football believe that Brent Venables is an elite. Yeah. He is a disciple. He is the guy, one of the guys if you were going to go out and hire the best defensive coordinator in college football, he would be at the top of the list. He would be one of the guys that you would try and go and get. When they had to hire a defensive coordinator last year, we had all this speculation what OU was going to do, who they were going to go try to go get, and all this and all that. And the whole time, Brent looked in the mirror and said, who's better than me to run this defense? Who's better than me to call this defense? On his staff that have been under him in tutelage, and they went out, and B. Hall went to Appalachian State and called defense, did a great job. And he has Dreiling, that he just brought in at linebacker coach, was set to be the defensive coordinator at Utah State. So he's has guys on his staff that have called, but he said, all right, if we're really under pressure, if we're really on the hot seat, which he doesn't believe they are, but he said, I'm the best one to take that because I've been under pressure my whole life. My whole life, I've looked at it, and I've been on the hot seat my whole life. And I've lived in it. I know how to work in it. I know how to handle it. He goes, I'm the best guy to call defense on this staff. Now, when you have guys on the staff that want to be defensive coordinators, that could cause a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did those guys want to get promoted and things like that? Well, maybe so, but they love Brent Venables so much. Nobody else on the staff left. The team is so fired up that Brent Venables is calling plays. Now, that doesn't make it any easier at practice. I mean, Brent's a taskmaster at practice. He's not a Bear Bryant disciple, but practices are tough at OU. And especially on defense, and you make a mistake, Brent's going to be right up your butt yelling at you because you're not lining up correctly.
Uh-huh.
And that's what's great about him. But he is the perfect guy to run this. And I think that's one of the key points in this game. You have Bryce Underwood, who is a rookie quarterback in his first road start. Number one player in the country last year. That means something. And, I still think of recruiting and how much it's changed and everything else. When you're still the number one you are still a blue blood. You're still the guy everybody wants, right? And he comes in, and he's never looked at a Brent Venables defense. And I know he's going to get coached up. I know he's got great coaches. I know Sharon Moore. I know him personally. I have broken bread with Sharon before. I know Sharon, and I know what he's telling his quarterback. Just be ready, but do what you can do. Well, Brent's going to make sure that on every single play, that's something different for Bryce to look at, and that's going to be one of the big keys in this game.
Do you think throughout the duration of the season, Brent will be able to multitask and serve as a head coach and as a defensive coordinator?
Well, one key guy that he brought in, you know Kevin Wilson?
Not personally, but yes. Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy to sit down and have a glass of vino with,
uh-huh.
and eat some Italian food with. He is a great guy to hang out with.
Uh-huh.
And Kevin's been one of my favorite people for a long time, and I've always admired him as a coach. When he came to OU, at first he was the offensive line coach, and then he became the offensive coordinator, and then he became the tight end coach. And remember, he had Sam Bradford, he had Adrian Peterson, and he had all these great teams, and then he called plays every 10 seconds. I've had some funny moments with Kevin. I'm the one media guy that challenged him. I said, you're not the first guy to run tempo. Yes, I am. No, you're not.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I am. No, you're not. Bud Wilkinson would run 3 plays, and every 60 seconds they'd get 3 plays, and Bud was running it in 1954, 53, 56. He was running it his entire time. He goes, they didn't do it the same way. That's not even the same game. That's not it. And I'd go, Kevin, they ran tempo just like you did. He'd go, oh, okay, well, whatever. Anyway, Kevin's a great coach. They brought Kevin. Kevin gets let go at Tulsa. Big mistake by the Hurricane, but, hey, that's the way it is in college football today. So Kevin, runs into Brent one day in Norman, and Kevin says, what are you doing? Brent says, what are you doing? Kevin says, well, I don't know. I'm not really doing anything. He says, wait a second. Why don't you come and be an analyst on my staff? Perfect. Kevin's now an analyst on the staff. That gives Brent a mentor, a sage that he used to compete against when Brent was running offense. Kevin was running offense. Brent was running defense. And he knows how difficult and how great Kevin is as a play caller. Kevin's been a head coach. That's somebody that he can look at and he can listen to. Now, Kevin is not a guy that likes to step on anybody's toes, but they're trying to get stuff out of him. Kevin, what do you think? Kevin, what do you think? Ben Arbuckle, he's down on the field, and he's standing right by Ben Arbuckle. He's standing right by Brent Venables. It's a key addition to the staff, and that's going to help Brent multitask because he has a guy like Kevin Wilson that can do some of those duties maybe that the head coach needs to do sometimes if Brent needs to spend more time with the defense.
That's a good point. Hey, CBS Sports Talk Radio out of Oklahoma City, 105.3 FM. James Hale is our very special guest, getting you ready for tomorrow's game, Oklahoma, Michigan. And let's talk about the quarterback, John Mateer. Just so far, what has he shown you in terms of his decision-making, his poise, and his leadership? What jumps out, Jay?
Well, he reminds me of Baker Mayfield his sophomore year. I think John wants to distance himself from the comparisons with Baker, but I need to use it here because Baker was so impressive to me as a sophomore. Remember, Baker, when he came in, was, facing a quarterback that had just beaten Alabama in a bowl game. And, and Baker still came in with the moxie, the leadership, and won that job his sophomore year. I see the same thing here with Mateer. Mateer didn't have to fight for the job. He was given the job. In fact, the first time they were in I think it was the weight room. And Mateer, wanting to fit in, just got in the back of the line. Well, Jacob Sexton and some of the older players on the team turned around and said, "Where's John? What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, let's go, man. I'm ready." And he goes, "No, you get up here. You're the starting quarterback here." They anointed him the starting quarterback before the coaches did. They said, "You're the starting quarterback here. You're leading us. You're at the front of the line. You do the squat first. I'll do it second. He'll do it third. He'll do it fourth. You do it first." Well, Mateer, since that time, has been the leader of this football team. Mateer did a couple of things that's really impressive. He went out and met every single player. You notice I didn't say offensive players. Every single player, somehow, he went out and either called him on the phone, met him for lunch, met him for breakfast, met him in some running group. They sat down and just talked. He met every single player. Whenever anybody wanted to break bread, John jumped in the car and went. When everybody wanted to hang out, John was always inviting guys over. He says, "I love to cook. Whether it's hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever, I'm always feeding my guys." So this is exactly what he needed to do. And then he knew that he had to teach the offense to the guys. And Ben Arbuckle knew that he had a guy that's been in his system for 2 years that could help accelerate this. And you know who this reminded me of? Josh Heupel in 1999 when he came in. And Mike Leach had brought the spread or air raid offense to Oklahoma, and the Sooners were leaving the wishbone. They had to have a quarterback, and they got lucky when they found Josh. Josh was getting ready to go to Idaho State or somewhere. And Leach went up and said he froze his butt off, went up there and got him. And he came in, and Josh Heupel started teaching the offense and started taking some of these running backs like Josh Norman and others and made them wide receivers. Well, Mateer's wasn't quite that and gracious. I mean, it wasn't quite that dramatic because OU had been in passing offenses similar to what Arbuckle brought in. But whatever Arbuckle's differences were, Mateer was teaching it to the team in walkthroughs and summer workouts and off-season workouts and just, chalk sessions and everything else. That's been a big help in OU picking up this offense. And so they feel like it's ready to go. John's going to be in his second game. He looked really good in the first game. He led the SEC in passing against Illinois State. Threw 3 touchdown passes. He didn't really showcase his running ability, even though he had a couple of real nice runs. I think we're going to see more out of Josh and his ability to John. We're going to see more out of his ability to run and do some different things. And I think that I think he's a great fit at the right time for OU. He's an upgrade, obviously, of what they had last year. but, Dylan Gabriel was a really good quarterback here. Dylan's made a team in the National Football League. So it shows you right there. And OU's had this great run of quarterbacks. And Michael Hawkins will redshirt this year, and Michael's incredibly athletic. And he's growing so much now that they have 2 quarterback coaches. They have a Ben Arbuckle. They have a John Mateer that's working with him. Michael's going to be really good when his time comes. But it's John Mateer's time now, and OU feels very confident. He brings incredible confidence to this football team on both sides of the ball. And this team believes that John Mateer can take him back to the promised land.
CBS Sports Talk Radio, James Hale here, helping us preview Oklahoma's huge showdown with Michigan tomorrow night. And so with a solid performance, could John Mateer place himself in the Heisman conversation? What are your projections?
Well, I think he will. Let's say he goes out and throws for 325, 3 touchdowns, rushes for 100, and scores 2 more touchdowns. He's probably the number 1 guy in the Heisman Trophy race next week, right? So, he's already on the list. He's already a guy that's up there with the quarterback at LSU and, all the other guys people are talking about. I think that, I think he's got a great chance to get it. There's no real clear-cut favorite for the Heisman this year, and Mateer's kind of one of the guys they throw him out there. And I think that, it's just, look, when you break down who are the best players, in college football this year, Mateer's one of them, right? He gets brought up all the time, and everybody brings it up. Nussmeier at LSU is really good. Klubnik at Clemson is good. Then you have the receivers, Jeremiah Smith and Williams at Alabama, Arch Manning. And Arch Manning's already had a so-so game. Klubnik's already lost. He's already had a so-so game. Nussmeier, I was so impressed with Nussmeier last year at LSU against OU. And he was good in the opening game, and that was a huge game against Clemson. He outplayed Klubnik in that game. So Mateer's right there, and he's got this national stage all to himself. It's 6:30 in the evening. It's nobody else is really playing college football. There's no other big games in college football. Game day is going to be there. Trey Young is the guest picker.
Oh yeah.
And so there's so many unique things, and this is a great stage for Mateer. And so far, he's been a gamer, man. The bigger the game, the better he's played. He'll put up numbers. He'll play well in this game.
Hey, we're getting ready to wrap up our interview with James Hale, but pull back the curtain on John Mateer. Tell us a little bit about his family, his background. What do we need to know about him, and where does this confidence and leadership come from?
Well, both his parents are athletes and coaches. And so it was a yes, sir, no, ma'am type of family atmosphere. And John is always, when he's been around his dad at football practice, he just, his dad just saw how he led. And, John saw how his dad led, and he's just picked it up. He was a natural leader when he was a youngster in Pee Wee football, and he was the leader of the football team already. He was calling audibles at the line of scrimmage. He just has a knack and picked it up, and he just knows it. But he's a real nice guy. I haven't had the chance to really hang out with him personally, so I'm basing this on just every interview that I've done with him. And he's just nice. He's not really cocky, even though he's confident. But he's not braggadocio, but yet he'll let you know that he's going to compete with you, and he expects to beat your butt. He's that kind of guy, and that's how he comes off. But it was ingrained in him, I think, organically when he was young. I don't think it was forced upon him. I think that he just saw it and thought, this is the way life is. And if I'm going to be an athlete, this is the way it's going to be. And that's why he is who he is.
Okay, we're up against the clock. CBS Sports Talk Radio. James Hale has been our very special guest. Connect with our audience. Where can they go and subscribe to you on X and Patreon? Tell all of our listeners and viewers about it.
All you got to do is Google James Hale and Die Hard Suitor Report. You get 3 to 5 podcasts every single day. One, an OU football report. One, an OU recruiting report. Then on any other sport that's playing. And also, I'm kind of diving in on some college football things on Die Hard Suitor Report. We'll cover Eli Walker Campbell,
Hey.
and his, on the Sooner golf team this year. And also I'm on X at Hale 24. And you can listen to me at CBS Sports Radio 105.3 every afternoon.
Okay, give us a prediction, James. Will the Sooners win tomorrow night?
OU covering. See, this I had OU winning. Where they're going to cover E 5.5 is a pretty big spread. But
yeah,
I bet them to cover E 30-21.
Sweet, James. Look forward to catching up with you again real soon. And Boomer Sooner. Talk soon.
Boomer Sooner, E. See ya.
You bet.